There's a place deep in the woods, far from any human settlement, where no one dares to venture, not because of wild animals or treacherous terrain, but because of something far worse, something inhuman. They call it the Collector's Domain. Stories have circulated for decades, whispering of people who wandered into these woods and were never seen again. But the truth is far more disturbing than any of the legends. Those who have been taken didn't just vanish, they were collected by him. The collector wasn't always a monster. He was once a man, a talented taxidermist who lived on the outskirts of town. His work was extraordinary, so lifelike that people would travel for miles just to see it. But it was never enough for him. The more he perfected his craft, the more obsessed he became with capturing true lifelikeness. Soon, animals no longer satisfied his twisted desires. His first human victim was a drifter, someone no one would miss. The collector meticulously skinned the man, preserving every inch of flesh. But something changed that night. The act of stripping a human of their skin awakened a darkness within him, something ancient and insatisfiable. He was no longer a man, but something far worse, being driven by the need to collect and preserve human skin. The collector's cabin is a museum of horrors. Inside, hundreds of human skins hang like grotesque tapestries, each meticulously preserved and displayed. Faces frozen in eternal screams, hands forever reaching out in vain, and bodies contorted in their final moments. All part of his macabre collection. But these aren't just empty shells. The collector's magic, dark and ancient, binds the souls of his victims to their skins, trapping them in eternal torment. The collector roams the forest at night, searching for his next piece, his next edition. His presence is heralded by the sound of rustling leaves, even when there's no wind, and the sudden, inexplicable chill that runs down your spine. Those who sense him too late are never seen again. One night, a group of campers, young adventurous and oblivious, set up camp not too far from his domain. As they laughed and shared stories by the fire, they had no idea that they were being watched, that they were already marked as the next pieces for his collection. As the night wore on, one by one, they began to feel uneasy. The laughter faded, replaced by the feeling of being watched. The air grew cold, unnaturally so, and the forest fell silent. Then they heard it, a faint rustling in the leaves, growing louder and closer. Panic set in, but by then, it was too late. The next morning, the campsite was found deserted. All that remained were their flaps flapping in the wind, and the campfire, now just smoldering embers. But deep in the forest, in the collector's cabin, 4 new editions were on display. Their skins were stretched and preserved, their faces frozen in the horror of their final moments. Their souls, trapped and tormented, were now part of his collection forever. And so, the collector waits, always watching, always haunting. Perhaps you'll be the next to stumble into his domain. And if you do, remember this. You can't outrun him. You can't hide from him. Once he's marked you, you're his. Forever.